I met up again with archaeologist Kevin Vaughan, hoping for an answer.
Well, so whole pots were found just littered around on the lines?
Actually, not whole pots. We actually find ritually broken pots scattered along the lines, along with other evidence for ceremony, that it must have been some kind of offering to whoever they were worshipping.
So how do we know that these pots were actually smashed for a ceremonial reason, rather than someone just walking along with their pot, having a drink, and just dropping it and smashing it by mistake?
Yeah, that's a great question. But if you look down here at the breakage pattern of this particular pot that I threw against this rock, you see all of these tiny fragments. A couple of big ones, but a lot of these tiny fragments, almost dust.
Oh, so just to drop a pot would get a very different pattern to this. Mm-hmm. Let's give it a go. Yep, that's pretty categorical.
Okay.
Don't worry, these pots are just reproductions.
Okay, so you see you've got these bigger fragments here. You have much less of this, these very, very tiny fragments that were characteristic of that other pot that I threw against the rock.
So it's clear the Nazca were performing rituals out on the lines that their forebears in Chavin practiced inside a temple. We could be getting somewhere.
That these pots were violently broken.
Next, Kevin showed me some seashells that centuries ago were purposefully placed on the lines. They came from the Pacific Ocean, over 1,000 miles away.
So they've come from such a huge distance, you can only imagine that they were obviously highly valued.
Yes. We know that in the Andes, it was a sacred shell, and it really symbolized the ocean. And they were clearly intentionally placed on these lines. So there was some sort of ritual that was related to water.
Now the pots obviously carry water.
Perhaps maize beer, chicha.
And on them are these great images which often relate to the lines themselves. I mean, the iconography that we see on the ceramics. So you've got the Nazcans coming along here, they're smashing pots, and they are purposefully placing bits of these shells along here.
Back at Chavin, pilgrims came by the thousand to perform elaborate religious rituals underground. But did pilgrims come to the Nazca lines to perform similar rituals on drawings they couldn't even fully make out? I think I'm finally onto something.
Can we get down on the lines?
We can, but first you have to put these contraptions on that are specially designed to walk on the lines.
Beautiful. Gonna look like a duck on land, I think, with these on. But some of the lines are incredibly fragile, and so you need to wear these protective shoes, just it displaces the force you're putting on the lines. These shoes are ridiculous. Right, should behave and be sensible. This is serious archaeology we're investigating here. Show me where to go.
Sure.
A German research team recently conducted tests on the lines.
You can probably hear.
Amazingly, they found the soil beneath the lines was much more densely packed than the soil outside the lines. How come? By the repeated impact of thousands of feet.
So these findings tell us what?
It tells us definitively that people were walking on these lines. I think that they were walking on these lines part of a ritual procession.
For me, the puzzle of the Nazca lines is coming together. Nearby Cahuachi was a gathering place for pilgrims, but their actual destination was the lines themselves.
What Dr. Vaughan and recent researchers have answered is one of the most fundamental questions about the Nazca lines. Why would an ancient people build intricate lines across the desert floor that they just couldn't see? The answer? They weren't meant to be seen from a distance or a height. They were places to perform religious ceremonies, specifically processions.
Today, processions remain a part of religious worship everywhere. Whether at Mecca, during Holy Week in Rome, or in countless other places around the world, but especially here in Peru. They're a way for a community to express its beliefs and get in touch with the divine spirit that unites them all. We may know very little about the Nazca's religious beliefs, But we do know that walking on these lines, these sacred pathways, was a way they reaffirmed that belief together.